All right, shaking off some of the blues. Let's talk about what y'all have accomplished. Um, from the jump here on the stream, we have asked you if you live in a fake elector state, which includes Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, New Mexico, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. If you live in a fake elector state, to contact your attorney general and to demand that they open an investigation into the fake electors. We had Georgia looking into this. That's a pretty famous case. We had Michigan looking into this. Pin in that. We're going to come back to it later. I'd like to congratulate folks in the great state of Arizona for being the third green check mark. 4 more to go, folks. Just 4 more to go. Because Arizona has tagged in, and I am just tickled. Let's have a quick gander at this. It's the news here is a couple days old, but I was waiting for another shoe to drop, and we're going to talk about that too in this very segment. First, let's talk Arizona. This is from NBC News. Arizona's Attorney General is probing alternate electors who backed Trump in the 2020 election. Remember, there is no such thing as an alternate elector legally. That is just fraud. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays' office is investigating the transmission of an alternate slate of electors by Trump allies to be included in Congress's counting of electoral votes on January 6, 2021, a source familiar with the probe said Thursday. A second source familiar with the matter said prosecutors from Mays' office have had direct conversations with legal counsel for multiple people who acted as alternate electors, including former Arizona GOP Chair Kelly Ward. You will recall that I have been saying for some time that the Republican Party is a criminal organization. This is why. This is a criminal act. The putting up of fake electors. It was a criminal act. It was fraud. It was an organized criminal act. It included big names in state and national politics in the Republican Party. It's a criminal organization and should be talked about as such. The idea that it is allowed to exist, the Republican Party, in any state, and it's not simply called what it is, which is a mob, a gang, a group of political terrorists, a bunch of traitors. That's embarrassing, and we should change that. Literally, I would like these punks outlawed. And any politician involved with the Republican Party ought to be investigated simply on those grounds. You are in a gang. Let's find out what you did, because you've got membership in this gang. That's how bad they are. Let's read this a little bit more. A lawyer for Ward has been asked for comment. Mays, a Democrat who narrowly defeated a 2020 election denier in November, had previously vowed to investigate the fake elector scheme, which was designed to challenge President Joe Biden's election win in Arizona. We have to make sure that it's clear to everyone it's unacceptable to try to steal an election. Again, it's a criminal organization. It is an insult to political parties to call them a political party. To undermine and overthrow an election, and that's what happened, Mays told MSNBC this year. We have to make sure what happened in 2020 never happens again. Mays' predecessor, Republican Mark Brnovich, did not investigate the elector scheme, of course, because he's a Republican and they are criminals. But he had agents in the Attorney General's office spend more than 10,000 hours looking into GOP claims of voting irregularities and allegations of illegal voting. Mays' office said in a newspaper release this year. If you're not familiar, Yeah, all right, it goes into it in the next paragraph. A summary prepared by the Attorney General's Special Investigations Section in September showed agents had not found any evidence that backed up the GOP claims, but Brnovich did not make that information public, Mays' office said. So, to be clear, as of now, on the fake elector scheme, no convictions. This is just entering into the realm of trials and what have you. So I'm not going to push for abolishing the Republican Party just yet. In fact, by the time we can push for it, I suspect it will dissolve on its own. I mean it when I say 2024 is going to be an inflection point for the United States. And I think if a thorough enough loss is handed to the Republicans, they may dissolve on their own. But I also think we should be chasing them out. And if we get to the point where they still exist in any form, the Republican Party, where they still exist and and we have a say, by which I mean the government still exists itself, we got to get rid of them. We have to petition to use whatever legal means necessary to dissolve them. This would include, for example, saying that any party which includes members that participated in an insurrection is gone, is just dissolved. No one can run on that ticket. It cannot appear on a ballot. That's the kind of language we need to be looking at. That's a 2024 issue, though. And let's enjoy what you've got now. Now, wait a minute. Michigan's been on that list there for a while, hasn't it? It sure has. Georgia's been up there for a while, but we know how Fani Willis is doing. I just wish my state would chime in with its own update. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, just wait a minute. You see, we got some news today.
Hi, I'm Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. On December 14, 2020, certified electors in all 50 states convened to carry out their official duties related to the 2020 presidential election and award their state's electoral votes in accordance with their state's election laws. The election in Michigan was procedurally the same as in every previous modern presidential election. Nearly 5.5 million Michigan voters cast their ballots. A successful canvass in all 83 counties and multiple audits performed by the Secretary of State determined that the Democratic nominee, Joseph R. Biden, received over 2.8 million votes, approximately 154,000 more votes than the Republican incumbent, Donald J. Trump.
Boosh.
The results were then certified by the bipartisan Michigan Board of State Canvassers, and the sitting governor officially recognized Michigan's 16 electors who, in accordance with Michigan's election laws, convened on December 14th in the state Senate at 2:00 p.m. Despite this, the groundwork was laid for a plan to send alternative slates of Trump's electors to Congress in an attempt to outmaneuver and circumvent the long-standing Electoral College process.
Let me just say, I adore my beer-swilling, teeny tiny Attorney General. I hope Dana Nessel goes on to national prominence after this. She is a badass lady. Arguably saved the governor of Michigan. Think about that. That's the kind of thing Ben Shapiro would write a hammy book over if he wasn't, an insufferable bigot. Hell of a lady. Also want to be crystal clear. On December 14th, something else happened. Knowing that the real electors were supposed to meet that day. Well, there was an attempted break-in at the Michigan Capitol. Let's see if she discusses that specifically. If not, don't worry. I'll really drive it home.
As part of the orchestrated plan, we allege that 16 Michigan residents met covertly in the basement of Michigan GOP headquarters.
Boom.
And knowingly and of their own volition signed their names to multiple certificates stating that they were the duly elected and qualified electors for President and Vice President of the United States of America for the state of Michigan.
Yeah, that face is perfect. That face is perfect for this. Let's just go back a little bit. They said on a document they were the duly elected and qualified electors. That's a lie. In other words, they wrote down a lie. They created a fraudulent document. For what purpose? Treason. That's what purpose. To support somebody attempting to overthrow the government. Now, whether that gets called specifically treason or sedition, yeah, okay. We'll look at it. I think she's going to rattle off the charges. None of them will be that specifically. But buckle up because they're going to be good. Most of them involve the document.
That was a lie.
Boom.
They weren't the duly elected and qualified electors, and each
Boom.
of the defendants knew it.
Boom.
They carried out these actions with the hope and belief that the electoral votes of Michigan's 2020 election would be awarded to the candidate of their choosing instead of the candidate that Michigan voters actually chose.
Ha-cha-cha.
After signing these fraudulent electoral documents, some of the false electors attempted to enter the state capitol and deliver their fabricated electoral votes to the Senate floor, but were turned away. The false electoral...
For the record, they were turned away by the cops. We had to have Capitol Police boot them out of the Capitol. We had a little bitty version of Watergate, except it wasn't 50 years ago, and so they weren't arrested. They should have been, because they tried to break in to the Capitol, but they wore suits and they were white, so they weren't arrested. That's a disgrace that Michigan will have to carry, but you want it redeemed? I surely do. We got Nestle. I'm going to let her go uninterrupted for a while.
Documents were then conveyed to the United States Senate and the National Archives with the intent that Vice President Pence would overturn the results of the election using the false electoral slate. This plan, to reject the will of the voters and undermine democracy, was fraudulent and legally baseless. The false electors' actions undermined the public's faith in the integrity of our elections and not only violated the spirit of the laws enshrining and defending our democracy, but, we believe, also plainly violated the laws by which we administer our elections in Michigan and peaceably transfer power in America.
Boom.
Therefore, we have filed charges against the following 16 individuals: Kathy Burden, William Choate, Amy Facinello, Clifford Frost, Stanley Grott, John Haggard, Marianne Henry, Timothy King, Michelle Lundgren, Michon Maddock.
Former GOP co-chair, Michigan GOP co-chair. Is that right? Yes. Michon Maddock. Big name in Republican politics.
James Renner, Maya Rodriguez, Rose Rook, Marion Sheridan, Ken Thompson, and Kent Vanderwood. Each of them has been charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit forgery, a 14-year felony, 2 counts of forgery, a 14-year felony,
Woo.
1 count of conspiracy to commit uttering and publishing, a 14-year felony.
Fraud.
1 count of uttering and publishing, a 14-year felony. 1 count of conspiracy to commit election law forgery, a 5-year felony. And 2 counts of election law forgery, a 5-year felony.
I am actually more excited about those last 2 charges. Not because I think they're more likely to get proven or yada, yada, yada. I think all of these are going to, I mean, this is an open and shut case. All of these will be proven completely. The nature of their crime meant that they created evidence and signed their name to it. But no, I'm excited about those last 2 charges because a regular person can read them and understand immediately what they're all about. Good. Election and forgery. Right in the name. Good.
We intend to prove the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. That the defendants knowingly made, filed, or published a false document for a purpose under Michigan election law and acted with the intent to defraud. The defendants did falsely make, alter, forge, or counterfeit a public record with the intent to defraud. The defendants did utter and publish as true a certain false, forged, altered, or counterfeit record with intent to injure or defraud, knowing said instrument to be false, altered, forged, or counterfeit, and that they unlawfully conspired together or with others to carry out these acts. Undoubtedly, there will be those who claim these charges are political in nature. But where there is overwhelming evidence of guilt in respect to multiple crimes, the most political act I could engage in as a prosecutor would be to take no action at all.
I mean, can you imagine? Can you just imagine what 2023 would have been like if that lady had been the U.S. Attorney General in 2021? The most political action she could take, she says, is to have taken no action. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank God that you all have been paying attention. Thank God that you all have been loud and contacting people and bugging sweet ladies like this. This is what was needed. If this was the 1980s, if this was the 1990s, if this was even the what do they call them? The noughties. Nothing would have happened. But we actually have action beginning at the state level because of you, because the public insisted upon it.
Our departments investigated and sought the prosecutions of multiple election fraud cases. Some of these election law cases include the following: a nursing home employee who completed absentee ballot applications for residents who had not requested one. A grandmother who forged her grandson's signature on his absentee ballot envelope.
Jesus.
A guardian who obtained absentee ballots for legally incapacitated persons under her care. A township clerk who tampered with the seal of a ballot canister. A city clerk who falsely altered entries in the state's voter database.
Hold up. Let me just be clear. If I am remembering correctly, not all of these are Republicans. Most of them are. Don't get me wrong. The Republicans are the most dishonest party America has ever had, to my knowledge. And yes, even though they squeal like piggies over election fraud, this and that, they are the ones who largely participated in election fraud and have always been the most, both legally and illegally, in favor of being anti-democratic. Always, always, always. As in, like, anti-listening to what the people want to do. But nonetheless, Democrats are people too. And there was a Genesee County city clerk. Oh, it was a county clerk, so it wasn't a city clerk. So never mind. There was a but no, I think she was a city clerk in Genesee County and then became county clerk. Whatever. The point being, she was a Democrat, and it looks like she tampered with the election. My point being, Dana Nessel does not care what party you're in. She cares if you broke the law. I know, it's a wild idea. Crazy. But, yeah, she cares if you broke the law. Almost as though this shouldn't be a political thing.
A former mayor and city council candidate charged with failing to report a violation on a nominating petition. While these are cases impacting a relatively small number of votes, the citizens of our state and the public at large understand the legal necessity of pursuing such election law violations. And as Michigan's top law enforcement officer, I am obligated to hold bad actors accountable whenever and wherever such violations occur, irrespective of party affiliation.
I'm just so gosh darn proud. Folks, that's you. I want to point out she's going after the fake electors themselves, not after Trump, not after Giuliani, not after Eastman. I don't know how I feel about that, truth be told. But I appreciate the strategy behind it. The strategy is this. What have we said on this channel from the jump? The reasons we want state attorney generals to go after these people is because the feds will care about the very top of that particular food chain and will ignore anyone they can frankly get away with ignoring at the state level, which includes most of the state level actors. Other reasons also included, we'll get to that in a second. This cures that. This is the state AG for the first time in all these other things. This is the state AG going after the state's fake electors. In Arizona, that's just getting started. But it probably is going to look like what Dana Nessel has presented here. In Georgia, that's going after Trump specifically, as far as we know. This is the first time we have seen the state-level actors getting what's coming to them. Good. Now, what were some of the other things that other reasons why I wanted the states to investigate this? Well, to prevent Trump from getting pardoned by an incredibly misguided centrist dummy. To remove the temptation of a pardon discussion from the Republican race. Because I truly don't think that Trump is going to be the candidate in 2024. I think the candidate is going to be somebody who says they're going to pardon Trump. Having the state AGs investigating these crimes, Trump's involvement in these crimes would have removed that as an issue. But oh well. Nobody's nerfect, as I'm told. Dana Nessel gets the credit. First to issue charges against the fake electors. Very likely to be the template by which the rest of these states follow. And most importantly, it allows these investigations not to, well, they're going to overlap. Of course they're going to overlap. But to overlap as little as possible, the state and the federal. And it puts pressure on the rest of these people. All these other state AGs are going to get questions now. What about us? What about us? If you're in New Mexico, Nevada, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin, send this clip to your state AG and ask them, what about us? Don't you care about my vote? Dana Nessel cares about her people's vote. Why don't you? Great news and great job, y'all. This one really is you.